I distinctly remember a time where I was doing research in a school in Baltimore. I was in undergrad, and it was my first research project, and it was on the academic motivation and educational aspirations of adolescent mothers. And so we would collect data at different sites. One site was a school that was 14 moms. And so our PI, she was an Asian woman. Baltimore City, a lot of the women young girls, they were Black. And so naturally, just like today, bringing your friends to work with you, right? I brought Corey with me. He went to a different school, but I brought him with me there.
So I'll interject right there. I got my undergrad degree from University of Maryland, Eastern Shore and HBCU, and I received my master's from Bowie State, another HBCU. So it was always a different, a clash of cultures from where I was going to school at, coming up to visit Dr. Gray at his school regularly. And it was just a total different, like 180 from where I was as opposed to where he was.
Yeah. And research, I saw that as a pathway for me, for sure. But I had to get on it, especially with a GPA that was like, rock bottom. I was dressed up every day for, that's all I had at that point. So we would go inside of the schools or whatever, and I, follow my protocol. But then Corey was with me one day, and the girl was like, ooh, I want him to interview me, right? What size shoe you wear? Like, where you from? You don't look like you're from Baltimore. So those conversations started, and yes, it seemed a little awkward. But even my PI noticed. She was like, you should bring Corey with you every time because I think we need him like around. There was an instant, another level of familiarity that was there just on how he presented, and I think that's something that we overlook sometimes. For sure.
Yeah, and I noticed that then too. Even when we were there. Not from one standpoint, it was like, oh, this is funny. Like, oh, they're all of a sudden now they're talking because I'm here. But I also noticed that there's a familiarity right there because my undergrad was sociology and social work. So I could kind of see, even being there, that, okay, not that what Dr. Gray and his colleagues were doing wasn't working, but it seemed like the door opened a little quicker with somebody who was there. And it wasn't intentional. I didn't come, overexerting, any kind of cultural aspect to them. I was just being myself and coming up to visit. And I just showed up because it wasn't like I was just there, not like I was also in a Institute of Higher Learning at the time as well. So, it wasn't like I was just some guy off the street or just some friend visiting, interrupting his work, or he's got to drag me along. Like I had experience, and I was also studying in a relatable field. So I could somewhat contribute. I wasn't there to contribute, but it ended up helping out. So being able to do that, you could see, and I even took bits of that and was able to implement it in my own studies back at school, because it was it was really night and day to where you could see that maybe sometimes they would come to do their research and they'll open up to them eventually, but it took a little time, as opposed to not even to my own horn. But when I showed up, it was instantly like, oh, okay, we could talk to him. It almost was like a trust issue in a sense that, they were being professional, which they were what they were supposed to do. They're in their suit and tie. They're in their business suits and dresses. And I literally showed up, and it didn't help. I was in a T-shirt and like a new pair of Jordans that just came out like the weekend before. So they really were like, okay, we can talk to this person. Like, what's going on? So it worked out though.